Welcome to the Love Disciple podcast. Today we'll be interviewing Amy Cutter. Amy is a yoga practitioner based out of Austin, Texas. She also studies and practices Ayurveda, Reiki, and has many certifications to come, I'm sure. When I met Amy, we were both working an event together as creatives in the wedding industry. Amy is a lovely visual storyteller, photographer and videographer, and also the person who has filmed all of our interviews. In today's episode, Amy is really diving into what it means to come home to yourself and how yoga helps her come home to herself. After years spent growing up in the Mormon church, she really has a lot to share about her journey from being a Christian and transitioning into a more centered lifestyle. But I want to take the thunder away from her. Let's hear what she has to say. Without further ado, Amy Cutter.
Dynamite, I'm blowing up my mind. I want to be free, I want to be cool, I want to be bad.
All right, welcome to the podcast. Today it is a pleasure to interview Amy Cutter. Amy has been a friend of mine for quite some time, and today I'm really pleased to talk about some of the studies that she's been doing recently in spirituality. So, without further ado, Amy, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Amy. I am a spiritual quester, I guess is what you would call it. I've been studying yoga, Reiki, Ayurveda, which is like Eastern medicine, more like herbs, and incorporating meditation and yoga into your lifestyle to help your body heal naturally. And then I'm taking like Psyche summer school. I've been like studying some of the programs that the mystery school offers. So just like dabbling in different things to see which one feels right.
Right, so tell me a little bit. I think a large portion of this developed recently for you. Has there been some sort of like thing spurring you on, or was there something that happened in your life that inspired you to do this?
Yes. So just a little backstory. I was raised Mormon, which I never resonated with.
Why not?
The lessons that they were teaching us never felt loving. It felt very like constricting. There were a lot of, you have to do X, Y, and Z to get to heaven. And it just didn't feel like that was how the universe or God would like operate to me.
Right.
And it was weird that only certain people would also get into heaven. Like, you had to get married in the temple, or you couldn't be gay, or you had to live a specific lifestyle, which involved like having a lot of kids. And so, to me, those were a lot of red flags, just because one, I never wanted to have kids. Mm-hmm. And two, I had a lot of family members that were gay, that are gay. And so like, to me, it was like, do I have to choose to love them? Like, is that like a conditional love? Like, that seems weird. And so I ended up just like leaving the church and falling away, I guess, very young. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to college, I stopped going altogether, kind of did my own thing.
Yeah. So when you said that I've got a couple questions. So you said your family members are gay. Are they in the church and gay, or they're outside of the church?
They're outside of the church.
Okay.
However, I do have a family member who came out while practicing Mormonism.
Really? And how did that go?
Not well. Okay. They actually want to be disassociated with the church,
Okay.
which is totally understandable. There is a lot of like expectations that the church has. And so, but they're now married to a very beautiful partner, and just like they're much happier.
Okay.
And so, like, to me, it's weird that you have to choose happiness and love over like a religion. And it just never sat right with me.
It's so interesting because a lot of people, I think, who, at least I've met, who come from Mormonism, they're completely immersed in it, like all of their extended family, all of their immediate family, and it kind of becomes a cult. But it sounds like you were able to, even within, you said when you were a child, you kind of fell away from it, and then you went to college and you completely left. It sounds like you were immersed in it, but you still were able to create your own identity.
Yeah. I've always had this very interesting sense of what the universe or what God is. And to me, the God that the Mormons had created just wasn't loving and kind. And to me, that was not what I felt.
Okay.
And so I did a lot of like questioning for things, and they also didn't like that.
Okay.
I remember my last day at church, I like really called out the congregation, and I was like, how dare you not love your neighbor as Jesus would have loved us. And it was just like a shocking moment for everyone, and I was like, that's right. Like walked off the stage. It was like a very proud moment for me, because I was just like, what? And it was probably also my transition of like leaving the church, of like calling you out and then being like, I no longer want anything to do with this. I'm gonna find my own way.
So you felt like there wasn't enough. You felt like the values that they were preaching, they weren't actually living them.
No.
Okay.
No.
So there was like a lack of integrity, and that inspired you to go look for
other means
of loving yourself, or loving other people, or
both.
Living life. Okay.
Yeah, both, all of it. I knew I needed some kind of like, not necessarily religion, but I knew like spirituality was very important to me. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that felt like, but I knew for sure that it was not with a organized religion. I have done research in Mormon Christianity, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Baptists. I've read the Quran. I've studied some of Buddha's work, and now like learning yoga and Ayurveda, some like Hinduism, and like to me, I resonate the most with Buddhism and Hinduism and spirituality and witchcraft. Like those are kind of like the realm that I've been like staying in.
Let me ask you something. So it sounds like when you were talking about being up on the stage in front of the congregation and saying you're not loving like Jesus told you to love thy neighbor, it sounds like you really resonated with the teachings of Jesus. But you then transitioned into these other paths, and I've seen a lot on TikTok of some people being like, this is witchcraft, this is bad. Can you explain like how you organize that in your mind, or like what, like do you think that Jesus is opposite of witchcraft?
No, I think they all go hand in hand. And plus, witchcraft is much older than I think people realize. But also, to me, witchcraft is about connecting with nature,
right, and
the elements, and using herbs to heal yourself. I think Hollywood puts a big like negative thing on witchcraft. We're evil, we curse you, we worship Satan. that so far the witches that I have met are not like that.
Right.
They're all about herbs, helping people, connecting with spirit. They go outside and run around barefoot. Like your goal is to be one with nature. And like, what's wrong with that? And to me, my personal feelings are that Jesus was probably the most like witchiest person out there. Like, he was healing people. We use Reiki. Who's to say that he wasn't using Reiki? You don't know. But he was just like straight up healing people and like, calling people out if they're like not doing the right thing. Like, he destroyed a whole temple one time. Like, I don't think he was into organized religion at all. I think that it's what the churches, they've made him this mascot for their purposes. So I think Jesus was a really cool dude. Like, everything in the Bible and the readings suggest that he was just a really spiritually in-tuned human being. Like, to me, his throat chakra was like wide open. Yeah. So, and he just was able to communicate with the universe in such a profound way. So
the Eastern, you said Buddhism and Hinduism, that has connected you more to spirituality, to Jesus, than the teachings that you had in the Mormon church?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So what has been the, for your experience of your life, like when you sit down with your heart and like you really feel into like how you're experiencing life, like what has really been resonating with you lately? What are you most interested in? Like, what has been really lighting you up?
Oh, witchcraft.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was the kid that was outside running around playing in dirt, swimming, and like I was obsessed with fire and like I remember just going outside and just like Harry Potter wasn't even out yet, and I was like, I want you to grow, just grow. And so like now that I'm an adult and I have like nobody telling me what I can and cannot do, I have been really immersing myself into witchcraft and spirituality.
Okay. And so you mentioned being one with nature, running around barefoot. I'm looking off to the side because I see candles over there. Tell me a little bit more about like what sorts of activities you're doing.
So currently my husband and I have been practicing meditation. And then during full moons and new moons, we do rituals. And that's just cleansing our home, taking out the negative energy, adding in the positive energy, talking with the universe of what we need, and, giving offerings. We give rose petals, rosemary, we light candles daily for protection and guidance. But it's just having like a very open conversation and putting intentions in what we want out of this life.
So I see the candles over there. I asked you what kind of activities you do. And you talked about, living ceremony. I remember that was something another one of our guests said, connecting with the energy. What about this intentionality that you've been bringing, like what has that changed for you? Has it changed anything?
Yeah, it's actually changed a lot. Valentine, my husband, and I have been able to put our intentions in abundance. And I don't necessarily think that we've made like we haven't made millions of dollars, but because we've put the intention there, we've been able to save money. We've been able to spend less money. We're not perfect, but the universe has given us these opportunities to make an additional income. Maybe our bosses have given us extra hours, a random bonus here or there. So it's been like
it's been an amazing experience just adding that little intention there. But it also helps when we're meditating. There's this positive outlook that we're starting to switch to because of the intentions and the meditating. We're less like, oh man, like that thing didn't happen. It's more like, that's okay. The universe has our back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like there's a reason why that didn't come through, or that thing didn't happen. Like that just wasn't meant to be. And it's also helped with like forgiving myself, or like the things that are negative in my life. It's interesting because there are spells or like words that you say, and they almost sit there within you, and they're like this little reminder. Like every time we light a black candle, that's for protection. And so while I'm driving to work, it's almost like that black candle is still lit. And so I drive more cautiously. Or instead of trying to pick up a heavier, like multiple things at one time, I've been like being more cautious of like, is this going to hurt me? Am I going to like not love myself tomorrow because I'm sore? Mm-hmm. So it's almost like this unintentional intention, if that makes sense. So
yeah, it sounds like the things that you do, the rituals, the items, they're kind of symbolism that speaks to a deeper part of you, like maybe your unconscious brain. And so when you're kind of moving through life, not necessarily thinking about the black candle, but it's still, like you said, popping up and influencing the things that you do. So to get really tactical for a moment, like what do you say, you mentioned meditation, what do you say are the practices that have really helped you the most? Meditation,
yoga,
meditation,
yoga, eating healthy, and then I really believe that the full moon and new moon rituals have really created a healthier space.
Oh, really? Like physical space or like mental space?
Both.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when you cleanse your home and then you come through and you're like, positive energy only, positive thoughts, positive words, positivity, love, that like thought process is with you throughout, that time frame. And so resetting it during the full moon and new moon, that's like a good like chunk of time in between to like really process. Also journaling has helped a lot. Gratitude. I've been writing 3 things every day that I'm grateful for. And that has also changed my mindset on like how I look at things. Even if it's just relax. I am grateful for relaxing. Like you don't really think about being able to take time for yourself as a good thing, because a lot of us busier folks are like, man, if I'm sitting on this couch, I'm not doing anything, things aren't getting done, I must be lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you write it in your journal and you're like, I'm grateful for being able to relax today, it really changes like your perspective on, was I being lazy or was I taking time for myself? So
that's very fair. So it sounds like you are able to do these rituals that to you, they're witchcraft. You're talking and communicating with the spiritual world around you on a daily basis, connecting, and you're giving your mind things to focus on other than the normal the kind of thoughts that run through it. And you're intentionally choosing to what you focus on.
Yeah.
I want to be intentional myself about focusing on things that are positive, but also not ignoring that life can be challenging. Have there been challenges that you've used this to navigate?
Yeah. Currently, I had an interview for a program I really want to get in.
Yeah.
And so I set the intentions. I envisioned me getting into this program. I talked to Buddha and my higher selves. I used a pendulum board to communicate with my higher self, asking questions. How should I approach this interview? Read some tarot cards, and I don't know. The interview we had a little mini interview, but I'm still nervous I won't get it. Like, there's still that, like, you put all this intention and all this focus into this positive thing that you really want, and the universe has said, yes, it's, it'll come. But is it going to come this year? Is it going to come next year? Is it going to come the year after that? And so, like, even though, like, I don't know, I also know that the universe, my higher self, they know what's best for me, even if I don't realize it. And that can be scary, to put a lot of trust and, like, your future in your hands, but not in your hands, because it's in the universe's hands, that you've already decided a long, long time ago what you're going to do down here. So I don't know if that answered the question, but
yeah. So if you have, like, a challenging interview or a moment, you use the positivity and the intentions to kind of help ground you in that moment.
Yeah.
That makes absolute sense. I think when we get back from the break, I want to take a moment to dive a little bit deeper into some of the things that you've been experiencing and what you've been studying, because before we got on, we were talking about some of the changes that you've made recently in your life, and, like, some of the things that you focused on. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. I think people will really resonate with, like, the kind of tips and turns your path has taken. So we're going to take a quick break.
Hi, I'm Amy Marie from Amy Marie Studios. Since 2018, I have been capturing unforgettable moments as a photographer and videographer, working with wonderful couples and inspiring artists. Now, I'm excited to introduce Mystic Harmony Studios, where I blend my passion for spiritual art, lock creation, yoga, and Reiki. I love collaborating with those seeking to create and connect. Let's embark on a journey together to elevate your spirit and vision.
All right. Well, we're back from the break, and I wanted to talk a little bit about where you've been and how you got here, because we started off, you were doing yoga. And then recently you started working at a specific shop in town. You don't have to mention the shop, but there were some things that preceded that. I think you started taking an herbal course.
Ayurveda.
Okay. And then, have you taken an herbalism course, or you're working?
No, it's part of Ayurveda. Okay. There is, like, a section, but currently I'm learning about the muscle groups.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very, like, it's in the medical field.
Right.
So I have to learn about, like, different diseases, different body parts, muscles, bones, etc. So that's, like, the first course.
Okay, so it was yoga, then Ayurveda. I remember you were taking a human design. Is that what it was? Where does that fit into the timeline?
Okay, so, gosh, I think when I started my spiritual journey, it was Reiki. Reiki was first. It was during COVID.
And how did you find out about Reiki?
A book. I think I read it somewhere in a book, and I was so intrigued. So I did some research, and I found a teacher in Dallas who was doing it online. And it was a pretty, like, cost efficient. So I was like, sure, like, I have nothing better to do. We're all at home. So I took it. It was a 2-day course. And that opened the doors. And then a friend of mine posted that they were offering a human design class and they were giving away this course. So I put my name in the drawing and I got it.
Nice.
Yes. So then I took human design, and that is a very interesting, very in-depth part of our who we are, what makes us click, and more of how can we use our DNA and what we are coded with to be more successful down here on this planet. Because you and I are very different, and our leadership skills or what we perceive as, work-related happiness is going to be very different, and that's kind of coded in our DNA.
Right. Interesting. So you went from Reiki, then you saw that a friend online was hosting this thing for human design. You got into human design, but it sounds like both of them, I mean, you still kept looking after that.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened after that. That's when you got into Ayurveda?
So after human design, we moved. So I took a little break, just did some reading and stuff. And then I saw this sale on yoga, and I was like, that sounds fun. And I've always been interested in yoga. I always, felt the benefits from taking yoga classes. So I purchased that class, did the 200 hours. Then the same organization that I got my yoga through created the Ayurveda class. And so it was on sale again. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Like, this sounds fun. I'm going to learn how to help my family, help me. So let's just do it. So I purchased that, and then they did another sale, and then I got like this bundle. So like, I'm just like a very, in my human design, it says that I'm someone who's obsessed with education. And so like, it has shown a lot lately. I'm always in school. And so like, this was a nice challenge to, find out more about spirituality, find out more of how can I heal myself without going to the store and buying over-the-counter stuff. I don't want to go to the doctor anymore. Like, I would rather focus on healing me and my family here at my house.
So how do you differentiate between like buying a course versus like buying medicine from the doctor? Like, isn't that still participating, or how do you see it in your mind?
Many, many years ago, there were not doctors like there are now. There wasn't over-the-counter medicine with all these things that may help one thing, but cause a whole bunch of other problems. And I'm not saying Western medicine doesn't have its place. It has its place. There are diseases out there that they've progressed a lot in. However, those diseases, some of them could have stopped or been hindered just by changing how you eat in your home. And to me, a lot of the things that I was struggling with, I don't feel like the doctors could have actually helped with. And so I also was diagnosed with a disease, and that also kind of clicked something that I want to do better. I want to take better care of myself. I don't want to rely on Western medicine to heal me. I want to heal me. And so that kind of also sparked that like initiative to learn more about herbs and using meditation to heal things within me. because our bodies are super awesome. And you cut your skin and your skin is going to heal itself. So who's to say that you can't heal other things that are going on inside of you just by maybe taking a specific herb and meditating and eating organic, or, more fruits and vegetables than processed food. I think pharmaceutical things are a band-aid to a bigger problem. And I want to heal the bigger problem.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think sometimes, I also see it as back to the black candle that you mentioned earlier. Maybe taking the herb does do something like statistically significant to make a change within your body. Maybe it doesn't, but ultimately, just as when you had the black candle in your mind as you go throughout the day, you weren't trying to think of the black candle. You weren't like, I'm going to intentionally lift less because I lifted the black candle. No, it's just something that you said, and it kind of like runs on the background in your mind throughout the day. And so in the same way, if you're not feeling well over a particular thing and you take the herb, you believe that it's going to have an impact. You intend that it has an impact. And then throughout the day, you continue taking actions as if it has an impact. Eventually, something's going to give, right? Yeah, because you're just kind of building and stacking and stacking and stacking. So I appreciate you sharing that. That's really helpful to hear. I have a couple more questions. So you mentioned that you read a lot and you study a lot. Has there been any book in particular that you can recommend to us that has been really impactful to you?
We have the Human Design book, which is a great reference when we have questions.
Okay.
I read a lot of books on Buddhism and spirituality. So just understanding what Buddha went through and knowing that, like, I don't have to suffer here to live a life, live this human existence. I can actually just go through life enjoying it and loving the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's been a very, insightful perspective. Gosh, there's so many books that I've read. Those are the two that really come to the forefront.
So the Human Design book? Okay, is it just called the Human Design book?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There's probably a ton of books on the Human Design, but that one is called Human Design.
Okay, fascinating. And anyone can use Human Design to kind of hack their life a little bit?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool. And so as we do the podcast and as we wrap up, I want to leave people with a couple of tangible things that they can, so they've got some practices, the meditation, the candles, the full moon rituals, they've got a book. Is there anything else that you can recommend to kind of help people really tactically improve their life or think about spirituality in a new way that maybe they haven't before?
Slow down. I think that's so hard for us humans because we are programmed to go, 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 go. But one of the greatest lessons that I've so far read, and it is hard to implement, but when you're eating food, be there in the moment. Don't watch TV, don't be on your phone, be here in the moment. When you're washing dishes, wash your dishes. Think about the water and the soap and what you're doing there in the moment. Your mind is so busy. The monkey mind, I think that's what they call it. It's go, 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 go. And when you take that moment to be here in the moment, everything, it kind of just slows down and your perspective changes day by day. And it's such a beautiful experience. And it doesn't even feel like a chore. I think we use our phones and TV to distract us from the things that we don't really want to do. But I've noticed that when I take away the things that are distracting and I'm just there, it's more enjoyable. It's more, it brings a little bit of happiness.
Yeah.
And you're able to almost like intuitively start to like those intrusive thoughts, they start to like disperse. And that's been like a really amazing experience for me personally. So.
That makes sense. I've experienced that as well, and that is in line with why we started the podcast, is because spirituality is all about experience. It's not necessarily about the mind and gathering knowledge. That's a way into spirituality. It isn't the experience of spirituality. So I'm glad that you shared that. Is there anything else that comes to mind before we wrap up?
If you're interested in witchcraft or spirituality or however you want to phrase it, I'm going to use witchcraft because to me, witchcraft is more than just pointy hat and a broomstick. I would say at the beginning of the month, get some sage and Palo Santo. Open your windows and sage your home and ask the universe to take away the things that no longer are beneficial to you. To let the negative things go, it's essentially a prayer to the universe. Wait a little bit, close the windows, light your Palo Santo, and then make your intentions. Another prayer, positivity, love and light, only kind words, only kind thoughts. Go through your home, meditate, you don't have to have an altar. You can just meditate in the middle of your room and set your intentions for the month. Ground yourself and just see what that does.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
Everybody, Amy Cutter.
Thank you.
Dynamite, I'm blowing up my mind.